Hey there, Scott Shoemaker here. I am an estate planning attorney in Cedar Rapids, Iowa, and I hope you're having a great day. I wanted to talk a little bit about one of the really basic questions that I get as an estate planning attorney, and that is, what happens to my stuff when I die? That question really depends a lot on several factors. The first factor, the biggest one, is whether you have done any planning or not, whether you have left any written instructions, any legally binding written instructions regarding the distribution of your assets. The most common form of those written instructions is a will, and there are other types of documents that can be created as well that have instructions as to what to do with your assets when you die. Some assets will pass according to written instructions outside of a will. The most common examples of those are things like life insurance, where you designate a beneficiary, and things like your retirement accounts, perhaps pension, those sorts of things where, again, you designate a beneficiary. You tell the owner of that asset who to give it to at the time of your death, or who to make it available to at the time of your death. Now, assuming you haven't done any of that, then it really depends on your family situation. Typically, if you're married, your spouse really inherits just about everything, assuming that all of your children are also children with that spouse. If you have a blended family situation, things start to get a little bit more complicated. If you have no surviving spouse, then typically things go to your children. And if there are no children or grandchildren or farther down the line, then we start by looking at parents. And if there are no parents surviving, then siblings, nieces, nephews, and so on. And you can see how this can quickly get very diffused. But that's generally how things are divided, normally more or less in equal shares. So how things are divided, what happens to your stuff when you die.